guys, welcome back to another escape wheel watch review. Today we're going to be looking at the Alpha DateJust Homage. So I just want to show you the packaging here. It's really cool. It's a nice suede little pouch here, really nice for traveling. Comes on this little cardboard covered in suede little piece here, and yeah, really nice little touch, I think. So yeah, just wanted to point that out. So you can get this from the alpha93usa.com store. If you're not in the United States, you can order from a couple different stores. So I'm going to leave all their links down below, but the Alpha USA site is it's a new location, US-based stock. So you're going to get these watches in the United States within like 3 or 4 days probably. So really happy to have them in the United States, and I definitely think they're worth checking out. Like I mentioned, you can get this one for $115. It comes in black and silver. It comes with the fluted bezel and a Jubilee bracelet, or a smooth bezel and an oyster style bracelet. So a couple different options for you to choose from, and for that $115, I think it's a pretty good value. You're getting a nicely finished stainless steel case, screw down crown, 50 meters of water resistance, stainless steel bracelet as well, screw down case back, and yeah, overall I'm actually pretty happy with this watch. Lots of cool little details in it, and it definitely has that vintage DateJust homage feel to it. So yeah, really happy with all the Alpha watches. They just have a different look and feel to them that you don't get from you know, something like Parnas. They tend to homage the newer Rolexes. So yeah, I've really been enjoying my time with this watch. But let's get into the dimensions. While I'm doing this, I just want to say again, thank you to alpha93usa.com for sending in these watches. Yeah, he's been really awesome to deal with. So as you can see here, this is a 36 millimeter case, thickness just under 12 millimeters. You got 20 millimeter lug width, and overall case length lug to lug is 44 millimeters. And you can see on this profile here, you do have some slight turn down to that, so it wears really well. So I'm going to go outside and throw it on the wrist for you. So here it is on my 7.5 inch wrist. As you can see, it fits me great. Really nice turn down to those lugs too. So it's going to hug wrists really nice, even though, you know, 36 millimeters, it's a small watch, but the curvature is going to help make it fit most wrists. And unfortunately, we don't have any sun here today, but you can see it still nicely playing with the light. That fluted bezel, it really sparkles, which is really nice. And yeah, you can see there's no sunburst and there's no anti-reflective, but still plenty legible, I think. And yeah, I think it looks really good. You know, throw it on a couple straps and we'll get back to the review. It is on the channel favorite vintage Vario strap, looking great on these vintage watches. Yeah, I really like the way this one looks. One more strap and we'll get back to the review. And lastly, here it is on a vintage 2-stitch strap. Again, looking really good. I think maybe a matte black strap would look pretty good on this thing too, just to match the dial a little bit. But yeah, this one's still looking great. Let's go back inside and get back to this review after some ducks. So let's talk about the bezel on this. Like I mentioned earlier, this is just a beautifully done fluted bezel. I mean, look at the light play on that. It looks great. You can also get this in the smooth bezel version. But yeah, I think this fluted bezel is the way to go. It looks great. It's a beautiful little tiny dress watch. Really happy with the bezel on this thing. The crystal, it's a flat sapphire crystal. It sits just ever so slightly above the bezel. You do have a Cyclops at the 3 o'clock position. It's centered in there nicely. Looks good. I think it's probably like 2x magnification. So at least it's aligned and centered nicely. So I'm happy about that. There's no anti-reflective coating. You don't really need it, I think. But yeah, yeah, it's a nice crystal. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Let's talk about the dial on this thing. So like I mentioned earlier, you have this matte black version, or you can also get it in a sunburst silver. I really like the matte black version. You have the applied Alpha logo at the 12 o'clock position and stick indexes at all the hour markers. And then you do have little lume plots on the outside of these markers as well. So nicely done. You usually don't get lume on these dress watches, so it's nice that they did it. And the lume is actually halfway decent. And we'll get to the lume in just a second. The one thing that I wanted to point out, which I didn't notice, is that you can see the indexes here, it's like at the 11 o'clock index here, it's like a U-bar, U-shaped. It's not just a flat index. It actually has, it's raised on the outsides and lower on the insides. It's an interesting look. I didn't really notice it until I got it, and it just plays with the light a lot nicer than some of the other DateJust homages out there, I think. So really cool little detail. You have the Alpha 93 text at the 12 o'clock, and then water resistant. This is a 50-meter water resistant watch, and then automatic at the bottom there. Nicely done. I'm really happy with the dial on this thing. It's super clean. The hands on it are nicely faceted. They are lumed as well. You have, I think they're perfectly sized. You can see that second hand reaching all the way out to the minute track there. Yeah, I think they chose a good handset on this thing. And like I mentioned earlier, the hands are lumed, the dial is lumed, so here's a lume shot. And you can see that it's not great, but it's not bad. Hangs on pretty good. For a dress watch, it's above average, I think. So it's nice to see that they put some lume on this thing. So let's talk about the movement in this thing. So this is running a Seagull YT2806. It is operated by this 3 o'clock crown. It is a sine crown, like I mentioned earlier. Unscrew the crown, nice and smooth action on it. There's not a really satisfying pop out, but you can tell when it disengages from those threads. First position, hand winds it. Second position, changes that date. And then third position, changes the time. Really nice and smooth action on this. And I'll show you the date change over here. So there you go. Snaps right over at 12 o'clock, and you can see everything is aligned just perfectly on this thing. So let's talk about the bracelet on this. So I know the bracelets on these Alpha watches, they're either a love it or hate it thing. I personally love it. They're homaging vintage Rolexes. Even up until the mid-90s, Rolex was still doing pressed clasps and hollow end links. So they're just kind of following suit. This is like a 60s DateJust homage. So yeah, this is kind of what you're going to get on a 60s DateJust. And you can see nice and flexible bracelet, super comfortable. It doesn't pull any hairs or anything like that. You have solid links. The middle links are hollow, and you do adjust this with screw pins. So that's nice to see. You have a signed clasp here. Like I mentioned earlier, it is just a press clasp. You do have the Alpha signature in the middle or inside as well. It's nothing fancy, but it works. This one's a little bit stiff just because it's brand new. And you got tons of micro adjust here. I didn't have to remove any links to fit my 7.5 inch wrist, but I did have to bump down the micro adjust holes here a little bit. It is hollow end links, but they are female, so that's really nice to see. And overall, I'm pretty happy with the bracelet on it. It reminds me a lot of the SKX bracelet. As for quality control issues, again on this one, I had none. Alpha has been putting out some really solid watches for a long time. They know what they're doing. They have clean facilities. Yeah, this one is no different. Everything is aligned nicely. Screw threading is good. Clasp, it may be a little bit tight on the clasp, but otherwise very happy with the quality control. So there you have it. That's the Alpha DateJust homage. If you're interested in this, definitely go check out alpha93usa.com if you're in the United States. If you're not, go check out one of their other stores and get it shipped to you there. But overall, very happy with the watches. Yeah, they're definitely worth your money. I think you're not going to find many 36mm DateJust that have the proportions just right and that have this really nice vintage look to it. So I think Alpha kind of has a niche market, and yeah, they're definitely worth checking out. If you want to see some more pictures of this watch, I would suggest checking out Alpha 93 USA's Instagram account. I'll leave that down below. I'll also leave mine down below, but probably not going to be featuring this watch on that. But if you guys enjoyed the video, found it useful, found it helpful, please leave me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. We're going to be doing some giveaways, and yeah, you're going to want to be tuned to the channel. So make sure to subscribe and follow me along. If you guys have any questions or comments, leave them down below, and I'll be sure to get back to you. But I think that's about it. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.